There comes a time in every soul's journey when everything stops working. No matter how hard you try, every plan collapses. Every door you knock on stays closed. You pray, you wait, you plead, and still, silence. It feels like life itself has locked you out. But what if those locked doors aren't rejection? What if they're direction? What if Allah is not saying no, He's saying not this way? Because sometimes, before the greatest openings, Allah hides every path until you realize the door you've been searching for isn't out there. It's within you. Say, it is also ve wa. It is also wa. They wa ebsi. Ibn Arabi, the great Sufi mystic, said that when Allah wants to reveal His power, He takes away your power first, so that when the impossible happens, you know exactly who made it possible. This is not just about miracles, it's about transformation, because the moment you surrender your control, the divine begins to move. So if you've ever wondered why life closes in around you, if you've ever reached a point where there seems to be no way forward, listen closely, because sometimes, when there's no way left, He creates one. 15 rate. Before the greatest openings in your life, there will always come a collapse. It's not punishment, it's purification. Everything that was built on illusion, pride, and control begins to fall apart. Plans crumble, relationships fade, doors close one after another, and you are left standing in silence, wondering, why me? But this collapse is not chaos. It's mercy disguised as loss. Ibn Arabi taught that before Allah grants expansion, He must first empty you of everything that competes with Him. You cannot receive divine strength while clinging to human certainty. So, He removes the crutches, the people, the positions, the attachments, until you finally see what was holding you back was never the obstacle. It was your dependence on it. When everything familiar disappears, your heart trembles. Yet in that trembling, something sacred awakens surrender. You realize you are not in control. And strangely, that realization sets you free. The collapse tears away what was false, so truth can stand revealed. This is the secret of divine openings. Before light enters, the vessel must be broken open. And in that breaking, you are not being destroyed, you are being rebuilt for what's coming. The fall was never the end, it was the preparation for the rise. Because the same hand that closes one chapter is already writing the next one far greater, far deeper, and perfectly timed. Before Allah opens a new path for you, He often takes away all noise. People leave. Opportunities slow. The world around you grows quiet. At first, it feels like abandonment, as if life itself has stopped listening. But Ibn Arabi revealed that this silence is not emptiness. It's the space where the divine begins to speak. When the heart is surrounded by constant noise, it cannot hear the whisper of truth. So Allah draws you into stillness, not to punish you, but to make you ready. He separates you from distractions, from endless conversations, from the pull of the world, so your inner hearing can awaken. This silence is the furnace where clarity is born. You start noticing small things, a moment of peace after prayer, a line in the Quran that feels alive, an intuition that seems to come from nowhere. Those are not coincidences. They are the first signs that the hidden force is working. In solitude, your soul begins to remember. You start to see that divine guidance does not always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper that only a quiet heart can recognize. And once you make peace with the silence, you stop fearing it. You realize that Allah never stopped talking, He was just waiting for you to stop listening to everything else. That stillness becomes sacred, because in the silence of the heart, doors begin to open that no sound could ever reveal. When you stand before an impossible situation, it's not a wall, it's a test. Allah hides the outcome not to torment you, but to reveal the depth of your trust. Ibn Arabi said that faith is not proven when everything is clear, it's proven when everything is dark. That is where the unseen begins its work. You ask, Why doesn't Allah show me a sign? But if He showed you, it would no longer be faith, it would be sight. True faith means walking through fog, guided not by your eyes but by your certainty in His wisdom. It's believing that even when nothing moves, something is moving, you just can't see it yet. There comes a point where you must choose between your fear and your trust. The mind screams, it's over, but the heart whispers, wait, Allah is not done. And when you choose trust, something invisible begins to shift. What was frozen starts to melt. Paths you didn't even know existed begin to form quietly beneath your feet. This is the secret Ibn Arabi taught. The unseen world responds not to desperation, but to faith. Every step you take in surrender echoes through realms you cannot imagine. And when your trust becomes stronger than your doubt, creation itself bends to make way for you. The door doesn't open because you force it, it opens because Allah sees that your heart has passed the test. Faith in the unseen is the currency of miracles. When you spend it without fear, the impossible begins to obey. There comes a moment in every seeker's life when striving no longer works. You've prayed, planned, pushed, and nothing has changed. That's when you realize the next step won't come from doing more, but from letting go. This is the turning point Ibn Arabi called Taslim, complete surrender of the self before the divine will. True surrender isn't weakness, it's the highest form of strength. It is the moment your heart bows before reality and says, I accept what you have written, even if I don't understand it. And in that acceptance, something mysterious happens. The resistance that blocked your path dissolves. Because the power that opens impossible doors does not come from force, but from alignment. When your heart stops fighting Allah's decree, you stop standing against the flow of destiny. You begin to move with it. The same situation that once felt unbearable suddenly becomes the bridge to peace. You start seeing meaning in what once looked like chaos. This is the hidden wisdom of surrender. The door you were begging Allah to open from the outside was always meant to open from within. Ibn Arabi said, "He who knows how to surrender knows how to open." The moment you trust that His will is greater than your plan, creation rearranges itself around your submission. And that's when it happens. The door that once refused to move opens effortlessly. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped standing in its way. When Allah decides to open a path for you, He doesn't always send an obvious sign. He sends people, events, and moments that appear ordinary, yet they carry divine precision. Ibn Arabi called these agents of destiny. They are not coincidences, but instruments through which the unseen works. You might meet someone for only a few minutes, and that brief encounter shifts the entire direction of your life. A stranger gives advice that suddenly makes everything clear. An opportunity appears after months of waiting. A word, spoken in passing, becomes the very message you needed to hear. These are not accidents, they are appointments written by the divine long before you arrived at them. In the unseen realm, everything moves under command. Hearts are inspired to speak, paths are aligned to cross, and every delay unfolds with a purpose. What looks like randomness is actually choreography, a divine dance between your patience and His timing. Sometimes, these helpers come disguised as challenges. A loss that pushes you to pray, a rejection that leads you toward a hidden blessing, a disappointment that redirects you before disaster strikes. In each of these, Allah is whispering, "Trust my plan." Ibn Arabi wrote that divine openings are not always delivered with light and ease. Sometimes, they come wrapped in hardship, so that the ego cannot claim them. The trial purifies your intention, ensuring that when help arrives, you see it as a gift from Allah, not as a victory of your own will. And then, without warning, you begin to notice alignment. You think of something, and the opportunity appears. You pray in silence, and the answer finds you through someone you never expected. Doors open softly, quietly, as though they were always meant to. The hidden force does not work through spectacle, it works through harmony. Every movement in your life, every person who enters or leaves, is part of an unseen order that bends reality to fulfill divine wisdom. When your heart begins to trust this process, You stop chasing outcomes and start recognizing guidance in disguise. You begin to see Allah's fingerprints on everything, in every coincidence, every delay, every sudden change of direction. And in that awareness, gratitude replaces confusion. Because now you understand that you were never walking alone. There were always unseen helpers beside you, hearts moved by the same divine current that moves the stars. So the next time someone appears unexpectedly in your story, or life reroutes you when you least expect it, pause and remember. It might not be random. It might be the universe obeying its Lord, creating the perfect chain of events that lead to your opening. For the believer who trusts in the unseen, nothing is coincidence. Every helper, every hardship, every turn is a sign that the divine force is already at work. And when you finally see it, you realize the door didn't open by chance. It opened because Allah Himself whispered, "Be," and it was. There is a secret Ibn Arabi revealed, one that separates those who seek outwardly from those who awaken inwardly. He said, "He who knows himself knows his Lord." The greatest opening Allah grants you is not in the world outside, but within your own being. Because every external door you are chasing, success, healing, love, peace, begins with an inner unlocking. We spend our lives knocking on doors, asking people to see us, praying for opportunities, waiting for change. But the truth is, nothing truly opens until you do. When the heart softens, when ego bows, when fear gives way to trust, that's when the hidden mechanism begins to turn. The outside world merely mirrors your inner state. If you are closed, life feels like resistance. If you are open, everything begins to flow. Ibn Arabi taught that the universe is a reflection of the heart. Every situation you face, every delay, every denial, is a mirror sent by Allah to show you what still needs purification within. The locked door outside is often the echo of a locked place inside your soul. An attachment you haven't surrendered, a wound you haven't healed, a lesson you haven't learned. The moment that inner door opens, everything outside responds. This is why true seekers are not obsessed with outcomes. They are focused on alignment. They don't ask, "When will the door open?" They ask, "Am I ready for what's behind it?" Because readiness is the real key. The heart that is still filled with fear cannot hold divine abundance. The hand that is still clenched with control cannot receive divine gifts. Allah does not withhold, He waits. He waits for your heart to become a vessel capable of carrying what He wants to pour into it. Imagine your soul as a house. Each room represents a part of you, your desires, your memories, your beliefs. Some rooms are bright, filled with remembrance and peace. Others are locked, heavy with pain, pride, or guilt. For years, you avoid those rooms. You pray for new blessings without realizing they cannot enter until you open what's hidden. When you finally dare to unlock them through repentance, reflection, and surrender, light floods in, and suddenly the whole house glows. That light is not new. It was always there. You just had to open the door. Ibn Arabi wrote that Allah's greatest gift is self-awareness, illuminated by divine light. When you begin to see yourself clearly, your attachments, your illusions, your intentions, you start to see how Allah has been guiding you through all of it. Every heartbreak was a purification. Every delay was a lesson. Every silence was a mirror reflecting the state of your faith. You realize He was never far. He was inside every breath, every heartbeat, every longing. The opening within is subtle, yet revolutionary. It doesn't shout. It doesn't flash. It feels like stillness, the kind that humbles you and strengthens you at the same time. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Guide me." You no longer see pain as punishment but as transformation. You stop needing validation because your worth is anchored in the one who created you. That's when peace takes root, not the fragile peace that depends on circumstances, but the unshakable peace that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. And then, something miraculous happens. When your inner world opens, the external world rearranges itself to match that vibration. People who once blocked you are moved aside. Paths you never saw suddenly appear. Doors that resisted you now invite you in. because Allah changes the condition of a people only when they change what is within themselves. This is the secret of divine synchronization. When your heart beats in harmony with divine will, the universe aligns around you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became a vessel clear enough for His light to flow through. The hidden force that opens impossible doors is not something outside you, it moves through you. When your heart opens, reality follows. So stop waiting for the world to change before you do. Stop looking for signs that you are ready. You were always meant to be the sign. The door you seek has been inside you all along, waiting for your surrender, your faith, your awakening. And when that awakening happens, it doesn't come with noise or drama. It comes quietly, like dawn after the longest night. You realize the journey was never about finding something new, but remembering what was always there, the one who never left, the one who opens hearts before He opens doors, the one who whispers to your soul, "I was within you all along." When the door finally opens, it rarely looks the way you imagined. You might expect triumph, relief, or celebration, but what actually fills the heart is silence, a sacred stillness. Almost like standing before something you've longed for and realizing it was never about reaching the place, but becoming the person who could walk through it. Ibn Arabi said, "The opening is not a gift given, it is a truth unveiled." And that unveiling changes everything. Because once Allah opens what was closed, you don't just see your path, you see the meaning behind every step that led you there. You realize that every delay, every heartbreak, every sleepless night was part of the divine choreography that shaped your soul. The opening doesn't give you what you wanted, it gives you what you were meant to become. In the beginning, you begged Allah to remove the obstacles. Now, in hindsight, you thank Him for them, because without the loss, you wouldn't have learned detachment. Without the silence, you wouldn't have heard His voice. Without the waiting, you wouldn't have built patience. What once felt like punishment now glows with hidden mercy. When Allah opens a door, it's not only an answer, it's a mirror. It shows you how much you've grown, how much faith has deepened in you. You realize the door didn't change, you did. The same path that once frightened you now feels sacred. The same hardship that once broke you now feels like the greatest blessing of your life. Because the moment of divine opening reveals not just Allah's mercy, but your transformation within it. The aftermath of the opening is often quieter than the struggle that came before it. That's because the noise was never outside. It was the restlessness within. When peace enters, it doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives as calm recognition that Allah was with you in every unanswered prayer. Every moment you felt abandoned. Every time you thought it was over. He was never preparing the path for you. He was preparing you for the path. And now that the door stands open, you carry a different kind of strength, one that doesn't need proof. Before, you needed signs. Now, you simply trust. Before, you sought control. Now, you rest and surrender. You don't chase what's written for you anymore. You attract it by being aligned with the one who wrote it. Ibn Arabi described this state as the heart of the knower, the heart that no longer demands outcomes but witnesses divine will with serenity. This heart no longer prays, "Give me what I want," but whispers, "Keep me close to what you want." It stops resisting change and begins to flow with it, understanding that what comes is mercy and what goes is mercy too. In this stage, you stop measuring success by how many doors open for you. Instead, you begin to ask, what kind of soul am I becoming as I walk through them? Because every opening comes with responsibility. Every blessing carries a test. The question is no longer whether Allah will open the door, but whether you will remain humble enough to walk through it without pride. Sometimes, after the opening, you'll notice Allah closing another door almost immediately. At first, this might confuse you, but soon you'll recognize the pattern He opens not to indulge you, but to evolve you. Each opening leads to a deeper lesson, a higher understanding, a greater surrender. The journey never truly ends, because every door opens into another level of knowing Him. And as your awareness expands, you begin to see life differently. You no longer divide moments into good or bad. You see them as currents in the same ocean of divine love. You understand that every difficulty was a push toward remembrance, and every blessing was an invitation to gratitude. The door that opened was never just an answer to your prayer. It was a revelation of who Allah is, Al-Fatah, the opener of what no one else can open. You start to carry this awareness wherever you go. When others panic, you stay calm because you've seen too much to doubt now. You've tasted what it means to be guided when everything seemed impossible. And once you've seen Allah open a door that no human could, you can never again fear being trapped. Because you know if every path closes, He will create one from the unseen. If every hand lets go, His grip will hold. If every hope dies, His command be will breathe life into it again. And so, your prayer changes. It's no longer, Ya Allah, open this door for me. It becomes, Ya Allah, open me for whatever you have written. You begin to crave, not outcomes, but closeness. Not speed, but depth. Not success, but sincerity. That's when the final realization dawns. The opening was never about reaching something outside yourself. It was about remembering what was within you all along. The faith that endured, the patience that blossomed, the trust that refused to die. It was about awakening to the reality that Allah never left you. He was the one holding the lock, the key, and your trembling hands the entire time. So when you stand before a new chapter, don't rush to open it with your own strength. Stand still, breathe. Remember the one who opened the last door when you thought it was over. He hasn't changed. His mercy hasn't weakened, and His promise remains, when no way is left, I create one. The aftermath of the opening, then, is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new state where your heart lives in surrender, your faith lives in peace, and your soul finally whispers, I have seen what trust can do. Because once Allah opens a door for you, you are never the same again. So if you find yourself standing before a locked door, exhausted, confused, and wondering if Allah has forgotten you, know this, He hasn't. The silence is not His absence. It's His preparation. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak was never meant to stop you, it was meant to shape you. Ibn Arabi said, the key to the unseen is not in your hand, it is in your heart. And when your heart surrenders, the lock turns effortlessly. Because Allah doesn't open doors through effort, He opens them through trust. You don't have to chase what's written for you. You only have to become the kind of soul that's ready to receive it. When you stop demanding your way and start trusting His, life stops being a struggle and becomes a revelation. Remember, when Allah decides to open a door, no power on earth can keep it closed. And when He closes one, no force can pry it open. So walk with faith, not fear. Because when the time is right, when your heart is ready, the door will open, not by chance, but by divine command. And in that moment, you'll realize it was never the door that was impossible. It was your heart that needed to believe it could open.